is displayed.
The Detroit Board of Water Commissioners Legal and Government Affairs Committee meeting will now come to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Chairperson Kinlock,
Present.
Commissioner Blackman,
Present, Detroit.
Commissioner Einhauser is excused but plans to join us. Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. A motion is in order.
Move approval, Mr. Chair.
Support. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, this item stands approved. Next item on the agenda is approval of the meeting minutes from September 4th, 2024. A motion is in order.
Move approval, Mr. Chair.
Support. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, this item stands approved. Next item on the agenda is public participation, and at this time, I would like to ask who will be reading the instructions.
Mr. Chair, that will be myself, Brian Peckinpah, Public Affairs Director for Detroit Water and Sewage Department. I will read the instructions. To make a comment, please raise your hand by using the raise hand icon on your desktop or mobile device. If you are calling into the meeting by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. After your name is called, IT will give you permission to unmute. In order to begin speaking, you will have to unmute yourself. To do so, press the unmute button, which is the microphone icon if you're online, or *6 if you are calling in. As a reminder, you will have to limit your time to 3 minutes to make your public comment. There will be a timer indicating your remaining time. If you're online to make a comment, we kindly request you fill out the comment card link that's located in the chat. By filling out the card, we will have your contact information to follow up appropriately. If you are unable to click the link, please let us know, and a phone number will be provided for you to call to provide the needed information. You will only be called upon once the chair closes public comment for this committee. There will be no other comments from the public, and all attendees will remain muted for the duration of the meeting. Thank you for your attention. And Mr. Chair, we're just looking at the attendees now. And at this time, we have no hands raised, Mr. Chair.
No hands raised. Okay, so at this time, public comment is closed. Next item on the agenda is receipt of correspondence. A motion is in order.
Sorry, move approval, Mr. Chair.
Support. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those
Aye.
opposed. Aye. That item stands approved. Next item on the agenda is receipt of correspondence as relates to the litigation report. A motion is in order to receive and file the litigation report.
Mr. Chair, I would move that we receive and file the litigation report.
Support. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, this item stands approved. Next item on the agenda is unfinished business. There is none. New business, there is none. And our planning calendar, we still is nothing that's attached at this time. And so the next meeting of
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Before you conclude, I wanted to defer to Director Brown for an announcement.
Okay, certainly.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon. I just wanted to take the opportunity to introduce you to our new General Counsel, Scott McGriff. I know that he's on the line, and maybe I'd ask him to turn his camera on and just briefly introduce himself. We're certainly lucky that he was available and willing to take this position, and I think you're going to find out very quickly, as I did, that he's more than qualified. So, Scott, have you got a moment just to talk a little bit about yourself?
I'm happy to do that. I've turned on my camera, however, I see that I'm not on. So, since this is only the first day and a half that I have received my computer, we'll work on that, and I promise for the next session, we'll have all the bugs worked out. But Mr. Chairman, board members, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be part of the team. We have a great great group of attorneys here. We have a great group of professionals. I'm excited to lead that team and to be part of this conversation. I'll give you a 2-minute background or 2-minute speech on my background. As by way of introduction, I came over most recently from the city's law department. I was in charge of the ARPA contracting and compliance work there. And as you know, the city received close to $1 billion that the entire city ARPA team has worked very hard to spend on behalf of the citizens, according to the mayor's priorities and the city council priorities as well. So I'm just spent the last couple of years there. Prior to that, I was at a law firm, Dickinson Wright, and prior to that, I was with the United States Department of Justice. While I was at the Department of Justice, I did two things. I was an attorney that tried government contract cases and prosecuted the fraud attached to those government contract cases. And additionally, I spent 3 years in Afghanistan working for the Deputy Attorney General as the Justice Attaché for the United States to Afghanistan. So excited to be in this position, excited to work with all of you, and I look forward to a great relationship. And again, I promise that we'll have the bugs work out of my camera the next time that we jump on the phone. So I apologize for that.
No problem. No problem at all. Trust me, I understand. And welcome on board. And I'm looking forward, as I'm sure all the other commissioners are, to working with you. There you go.
Solution. IT came in and they parachuted in and fixed the issue. So.
Okay. But
I join you in welcoming our new attorney. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, if you would, can we go back to the agenda? And so we did do planning calendar. We were at the next meeting will be November the 6th, 2024. And we will now go to the next item on the agenda, which is adjournment. A motion is in order to adjourn.
Move adjournment, Mr. Chair.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, our next meeting starts at 1:30.
Marion, have you identified who you wanted to preside over the next meeting?
Well, they have to decide who they want to do. Either, would you like to take the spot?
I'm available. I'm available.
Okay, so you can do the CIP.
Marion?
Yes.
Okay, I'll start at 1:30 when you tell me.
Okay.
No, that was just a test. I know you're like, what are you talking about? No, I was just testing to make sure. Should have said something else. Right. Okay.
I just thought maybe you didn't see that big old clock on the screen.
No, I do,
No,
but I
I'm
was
just no, I'm just
Oh,
Okay,
okay. The Detroit Board of Water Commissioners Capital Improvement Program and Operations Committee meeting will now come to order. Marion, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Kinlock,
Present.
Commissioner Davis,
Present.
Chairperson Coleman is absent. Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. A motion is in order to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve today's agenda.
Support. It's been moved and supported to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, this action stands approved. Next item on the agenda is public participation. Who will read?
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, the
Oh,
approval of
sorry,
the
approval of the
minutes.
minutes. I'm sorry. Next item on the agenda is approval of the previous meeting minutes. A motion is in order.
So move, Mr. Chair.
It's been moved and supported to approve the previous meeting minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that item stands approved. Next item on the agenda is public participation. And at this time, who will be reading the instructions?
Mr. Chair, Brian Peckinpah, Public Affairs Director of DWSD. I'll read the instructions. To make a comment, please raise your hand by using the raise hand icon on your desktop or mobile device. If you are calling into the meeting by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. After your name is called, IT will give you permission to unmute. In order to begin speaking, you will have to unmute yourself. To do so, press the unmute button, which is the microphone icon if you're online, or *6 if you are calling in. As a reminder, you will have a limit of 3 minutes to make your comment. There will be a timer indicating your remaining time. If you're online and make a comment, we kindly request you fill out the comment card link that's located in the chat. By filling out this card, we will have your contact information to follow up appropriately. If you are unable to click the link, please let us know, and a phone number will be provided to you to call to provide the needed information. You will only be called upon once. Once the chair closes public comment for this committee, there will be no other comments from the public, and all attendees will remain muted for the duration of the committee meeting. Thank you for your attention. Mr. Chair, the first hand raised is D'Amico Williams.
Okay, Mr. Williams, you're recognized.
Yes. Hi, thank you for recognizing me to speak. Good afternoon, commissioners. D'Amico Williams, Chief Executive Director of Hydrate Detroit. I just wanted to send a little notice out that there have not been any notifications from these recent rain events that have been happening, especially remnants from the hurricane. The city, the water department needs to do a better job at communicating with the residents when these big rain events occur by sending out text messages, email, correspondence, and also through the news and communication so that people can get ready for whatever happens, be it a big historic rainfall or even so much as a drizzle or so much as rain. We need to be sending out preparedness and tips for people just in case if anything were to happen. You know, we've had rain the recent past few days and complaints of flooding, and we've been sending alerts out to our clients and such to call, and also to the public using our Facebook means and methods to call the water department if any flooding occurs from these rain events. So I just wanted to send a suggestion that you all should do a better job at making sure that the communication gets through text message, emails, and such of citizens, and also through the city's emergency system to be prepared when large rain events or weather occurs. Thank you so much for taking my comment. Have a great day.
Thank you. Next person, or do you see anyone else on Mr. Peckinpah?
Mr. Chair, there are no more hands raised.
Okay, at this time, public comment is closed. We will now proceed to the next item on the agenda which is communications. There are none. Next item on the agenda is unfinished business. There is none. Under new business, we have item 2024-196, Brightmore Stormwater Improvement Project. Who's making that presentation?
I am, Mr. Chair. 1 second here. Screen sharing, okay?
It is.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Sam Smalley, Deputy Director, Detroit Water and Sewage Department. I'll be presenting on the Brightmore and Fenkell Stormwater Improvement Projects. So this is actually 2 different projects that I'm updating you all on. First, the Fenkell project within the north of the diagram is a bioretention practice, planting trees using nature-based solutions to increase the resiliency of the neighborhood. The one to the south is the larger proposed Brightmore project. I'll be going into more detail on that. We are seeking grants for all of these projects, and I'll provide more information on both of that. I will add that these projects meet all of the strategic priorities for the water department: the greening of Detroit, keeping rates fair and affordable, strengthening our infrastructure, enhancing the customer experience, and protecting public health and safety. So I'll go into more detail on that as we go through. First of all, the Fenkell Stormwater Project is looking to install over 20 bioretention practices, including a street vacation, where we actually take up the asphalt and concrete of the street, make a roundabout, but basically we're removing that impervious area. We have received some grant funding from this, 1.6 million matched with 1.8 million from DWSD. It will manage the stormwater of approximately 50 acres and will manage about 9 million gallons of stormwater annually. By managing that stormwater, it not only helps the immediate area by reducing the load on the sewer and storm systems, but it also relieves the regional larger systems, and in this instance to the south, the Oakwood Northwest Interceptor over to the west, and the Southfield and Hubble sewer pipes that run down to the Hubble Southfield CSO. These are resiliency projects. While they do have an improvement in water quality by reducing untreated CSOs, the primary purpose of this is resiliency and flood risk mitigation throughout the city. Now, for the larger Brightmore project, what we're looking to do is take advantage of the topography of this area. This thermographic image shows that in this area, there are historic streams that once existed. And what we're doing is using that natural topography to help address stormwater issues and reducing combined sewer overflows. This is a very large project looking to add about a 30-acre pond, and it checks a lot of boxes for us. It activates vacant land. It's very cost effective. It's large enough to have an impact on reducing CSOs and flood risk in the area. And it provides options for green spaces, including functional amenities for the neighborhood. It does require a significant amount of property to do one of these nature-based solutions. On the left-hand side are the parcels that were originally on hold. And then on the right-hand side, you can see that we've released a significant number of parcels that we've identified that we no longer need. The location of this project is bounded by roughly Eaton Street to the north, Linden to the south, Outer Drive to the west, and Bentler on the east.
A quick question. So the parcels that were on hold, that map that you just showed us, can you go back there to the left? Each of these green little specks to the left, those are vacant properties?
Yes, these are land bank parcels that we put a hold on. Asked the city not to sell them or otherwise dispose of them until we've had a chance to look at them, refine our approach. And then on the right-hand side, the purple ones or the pink ones are the ones that we said we no longer needed. So we released those for the city to do what they need to do with those.
Wow. Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. So the project area has some occupied houses, some unoccupied houses, some urban farm parcels, some privately owned private parcels, and then a significant number, 111 of land bank parcels. We're seeking to acquire these parcels similar to the method that the city has been using for their solar program. We are offering 2 times the fair market value or 90,000 minimum. We are offering assistance for people that are renting, including providing the tenants 18 months worth of rent. Farms will receive a competitive offer because they're being treated as an active business. And we are coordinating with the property owners very extensively. We've had a significant number of community meetings, and now we're having one-on-one meetings. I'll go into a little bit more detail on that here shortly. So again, what we're doing is we're taking advantage of the historic stream beds, the existing topography, the closeness to the Rouge River, and the existing sewer systems. What we're proposing to do is install a network of storm sewers in the neighborhood. We will have a shallow pond, again, approximately a 30-acre pond that will capture, slow down, detent, allow the solids to settle out, and then eventually directly discharge, directly discharge the stormwater to the Rouge River. We first introduced this project back in December of 23. We've had community-wide meetings in January, February, and March. Again, we are now having one-on-one conversations with the remaining property owners. Most have been accepted. We have been collaborating with various members of council and the city and Department of Neighborhoods who have also been attending these community meetings with DWSD. In terms of project funding, we're applying for a $20 million EPA Community Change Grant, $18 million for DWSD proposed improvements, and another $2 million for community benefits. We've had a significant amount of outreach.
Do you have a diagram of that? Right now we just see the text as it relates to the project funding. This thing, the other. Okay, you were digging down a little, giving a little bit more detail than what's on the screen. I'm sorry.
Okay, you are seeing the project funding slide, right?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. I'll be happy to either go back or
no, that's fine. You can continue. Yeah.
So we've had we've built a coalition of partners for this community outreach. We have an advisory council for residents. We're allowing the residents to have a direct impact on the design, including what kinds of trees. We will disconnect downspouts, and we're going to make the final design based on community impact. And we're also seeking additional funding to help advance the project. So here's hopefully the diagram that will help you. So what we're talking about right now is grant area phase 1, closest to the river. That's where the pond and a lot of the stormwater work will happen. Once we get that complete, we can then add additional areas in grant area phase 2 to further increase the efficiency and effectiveness of getting stormwater out of the system. Again, to make the city more resilient, our priorities are to either slow the water down which a pond will do, or better yet, get it out of the sewer system altogether, which directly discharging to the Rouge River accomplishes. Do you have any other questions, Mr. Chair, on this diagram?
No, I don't.
Okay. Schedule. Right now, we're in this summer of 2024, so we're right in the middle of our outreach and design. Coming this fall and winter, we will start with working even further with the community on the look and feel, and we're continuing to secure funding. Best case scenario, construction would be scheduled for sometime in 2025, maybe mid 2025, but that's very tentative and subject to change. Happy to answer any other questions you may have, or Gary may have some comments he wants to add.
Okay, I'd like to ask, are there any questions? Any questions of Mr. Smalley?
Yeah, I have one, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Sam, can you talk, when you show the diagram, people believe that that's the only area that will be affected, that this project will mitigate flooding a long way from this particular area. Can you speak to that a little bit, how this might even reach aviation district in terms of helping with flooding?
Sure. I do have an engineering diagram I can pull up, or I can talk with my hands. So we're talking about, you know, outer drive where it makes the turn. If you look at that as it relates to the city and the larger infrastructure situated between Southfield and Telegraph, the general flow of sewage in that area goes from north to south. And it's either going along the west side of the city through the Oakwood Northwest Interceptor, which is over capacity and surcharged, and GLWA is doing a lot of important projects to help mitigate that, but taking this flow off of that sewer also helps. Now, the city of Detroit maintained the Hubble and Southfield sewers, which are very large diameter sewers that DWSD owns and operates. Those lead down to the Hubble Southfield CSO facility located in Dearborn. As we saw from the June 21 floods, Aviation, Warrendale, those neighborhoods had significant flooding. By taking the water off of the regional system upstream, it certainly helps everyone down below. And it absolutely helps the Brightmoor neighborhood by reducing the stormwater impact for that localized neighborhood, but it also helps the region and everyone essentially to the south as well. Hopefully my hand signals came through okay.
Okay.
Did I answer
okay.
your question sufficiently, Director Brown?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I ask, are there any additional questions? Are there any additional questions? Marion, can you put the agenda back on the screen? Thank you. Okay, is there, okay, thank you. So we will now go to the next item under new business, item B, item 2024-198, review of meter operations. Who will be presenting?
I will. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Just trying to pull this up.
If you don't mind stating your name.
Sure. My name is Sherletta Flake. I'm the manager of meter operations, and I will be presenting updates for meter operations today.
Thank you.
All right. Can you guys see my slides?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. So for meter operations, one of our main focuses, we want to achieve more in 2024. We want to reach out to our customers and try to install more functioning meter equipment within the city of Detroit. For meter operations, we have an FTE of 63 employees, dedicated employees who are working hard and trying to update the meter equipment within our systems. We have two sections within meter operations. We have our meter installations team. The meter installations team, they are responsible for installing meters and updating meter equipment. As of today, our yearly goal is to install 12,000 meters.
Question, are slides supposed to be changing, or this is just?
Yes, they're not changing for you?
No.
Uh-oh, sorry. Can you see it now?
I see active more in 2024.
All right, so here we go. Sorry
you.
about that.
No problem.
All right, so I'll just rewind back so you guys can see. So yeah, so our thing is to achieve more in 2024 for meter operations. We want to reach goals that we have not reached before. Meter operations right now have an FTE of 63 dedicated employees who are out there working hard and trying to update meter equipment and get all those things updated so that we can get good billable reads in our system. We have two sections inside of meter operations. Our first section is our meter installations team. For the meter installations team, our yearly goal is to install a minimum of 12,000 meters for the year. As of today, our team has installed more than 8,700 meters thus far this year. As we look at some of the service line agreements for this section, one of their scheduled meter work is meter appointments. Over the year, it has increased with an average of over 500 work orders weekly. We have increased compared to last time this year by more than 30%. And that's due to we are seeing a lot of growth within the city, which affects the installations. And although pending customer issues still exist, our success rate of meter installs are going up, which is definitely positive. Our scheduled meter work, every week we install or exchange more than 200 water meters. And on an average, 20 new service accounts are metered weekly. Meter work orders are also a result of customer requests. One of their other service line agreements is real estate reads. This is actually tied to customers purchasing property within the city of Detroit. One of the things that we really want to focus on are the meter ages by district. Right now, we have more than 30,000 meters that are 20 plus years old. Approximately 160 of those meters, 160,000 of those meters are older than 5 years, but less than 20 years. And as we look at the age meters, we're developing a plan to address the aging meters, which will be presented to the board at a later date. We're looking at possibly trying to address that issue by increasing FTEs or bringing in other additional contract resources to try to get ahead of the issue. The other section within meter operations is our service interruption, restoration, and compliance team. This team is actually responsible for ensuring all customers have functioning meter equipment and then interrupting customers with delinquent balances or giving them other resources. For them, the backlog continues to grow due to the difficulty interrupting water service accounts. We continue to focus on water service accounts as we slowly reinstate residential service interruptions for all of our class types. For service turn-ons, service interruptions drive turn-ons, which is slowly increasing on a weekly basis. As we interrupt more services, we get more customers who's interested in entering into some of our payment plan agreements, and we're able to restore their services and get them back on the grid. The one thing that we are focusing on, if services are interrupted and customers does not have functioning meter equipment, then we're asking to update their meter equipment there so that we can do a one and done.
Do you have a chart or do you have the numbers? Can you go back to this last
Sure.
chart so I can, so do you have any charts that indicate within the same time period the number of water shutoffs?
So I do not have that, but if it's okay, if we can get that to you.
That's fine.
Because that's actually driven by another division within DWSD. That's driven by our collections division.
Okay.
So collection drives our work. We're executing the work, and collections is actually driving and generating those accounts for us.
Okay, no problem. And I guess it'll report out through the normal reporting process. So, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and one of our other high volume things that we're working on is our iTron upgrade project. That project is moving in the uptrend, which is really good. We're doing very well on the project. Between DWSD and our contractor, we have installed 110,461 accounts. 90,000 has been from the contractor, and DWSD has been able to install almost 20,000 with our normal day-to-day responsibilities. And that's it for me. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Any questions from anyone? Any questions?
Yeah, Charlotta, something that I've learned since I've been here is you said that there are 30,000 meters that are 20 years and older. Is that correct?
Yes.
And as the meters get older, they slow down and run in favor of the customer. Is that an accurate statement? So it's imperative that we get these meters changed out, because we're you know, while the customer is getting a better deal out of having an older meter,
yes,
the DWSD is not. And so we need to get the new meters in as quickly as possible.
Yes. Thanks for adding that, Gary. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you again. We'll now go to the agenda again. Okay. Okay, so now we will let's go. Okay, thank you. Okay, now we will go to item C, item 2024-199, fiscal year 25-29 CIP amended budget, amended budget for October 2024. Who will speak to this?
I will, Commissioner. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. My name is Istakar Raman. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of Detroit Water and Sewers Department. Next slide, please. This presentation summarizes the changes that we are proposing to the FY 2025 capital plan and the FY 2025 through 2029 capital improvement program. This plan and this budget was approved by the board on April 17th, 2024. Here we are proposing some changes to the capital plan as well as the capital budget for the 5-year plan. I'll quickly go through what changes we are talking about here. In the water fund, within the water fund, we are making a change in the funding source. So originally there were $30 million in the water fund for the replacement of lead service lines funded out of the state revolving fund. The state revolving fund was in the budget in anticipation of an intent to apply, which is also called the ITA, for that project. So we placed $30 million over a 5-year period. That ITA has not has the potential of going forward next year, but hasn't taken place as of now, and which will not impact, which will therefore not be available for FY 25. What we have done is we are going to be using bond fund of $30 million to fund our lead service line for the next 2 years. We are proposing utilizing $30 million from the bond fund, replacing the SRF. The bond fund is available in our construction fund for the water fund, and we have decided to use it because of the speed of how lead service line replacement program is moving. It's going pretty fast. Contractors are running out of money, and we don't want to stop the project. And as a result of that, we proposed moving the money from the bond fund to finance at least for the first 2 years.
Okay,
Now,
so,
sorry.
go ahead. Okay, so go ahead. Mhm.
So the bond fund is being utilized here. We have obtained the consent and the opinion of our bond counselors from both GLWS side as well as Great Lakes Water Authority bond counselor. And they've given us the consent to use the bond funds for this purpose. You have a question, Commissioner?
I don't. And I would just like to ask, are there any questions from commissioners? This seems pretty straight and forward. Just making sure that we have a definite source of funding. So as the state revolving fund is, not going to be available during this time frame. And so with that, I would like to ask motion to approve the proposed budget amendment.
Yeah, I have some more changes going.
Oh, okay. Continue.
Yeah.
Guess I
So
should
the
ask
lead-
if you were finished.
Yeah, so the lead service line is not going to be a state revolving fund for the lead service line would not be available for FY25, but it could be for future years. As and when that intent to apply happens and it becomes available, we're gonna bring it to your attention probably for next fiscal year and future. So this change where we're replacing the SRF with the bond would increase the funding for FY25 and 26 by $15 million each year, as we are going to fund them through bonds, and then reduce the funding by $6 million each year for the next 5 years, with a net zero impact on the 5-year CIP project. You can see then the little chart here, we are taking the SRF money out and then putting in the bond. The next slide talks about changes to the sewer fund. Here we are requesting a few changes. Again, the net impact is zero on the 5-year project. We are requesting approval to transfer $2.5 million from our emergency sewer repair budget for FY25, which you approved on April 17, 2024. We're requesting that we move $2.5 million to the Brightmore Stormwater Improvement Project. I have a slide next which will explain, and Sam has already explained what the project is all about, but not going there yet, Sheena. So we are requesting approval to transfer funds that are in PC in certain contracts, such as PC 812, 813, 817 to PC 814 and CS 1884, and also the purchase of certain machines for $500,000. Again, all of the changes, moving money from one project to the next because of the timing issue that some projects will not take off on a time and on the time that we anticipated, but there are certain other projects that we need funds, and therefore we are reallocating resources. Again, this has a zero net impact on the FY25 budget as well as the 5-year CIP budget. The only change here you'll see is a $974,000 positive impact on the budget, which will impact FY 2025. And this is because we got a fee from Detroit DTE Energy regarding their compliance with the ordinance. They could not, they paid us money in lieu of their compliance with the stormwater ordinance, where they could not build a project that they were required to do so under the project. So in lieu of them doing the project, they gave us $974,000, which could be used for any stormwater projects, become eligible for that. So that's the impact you're seeing at the bottom of the chart here.
Yes.
Middle of the chart is the reallocation among projects. So the net, it's only showing the net impact at the bottom. Any questions, commissioners? Hearing none, keep moving. Next slide. So these are the highlights of the Brightmore project. I'm not going to go through this. Sam has already briefed you on the project, but I just want to let you know that this money, that $2.5 million that we are proposing to move to Brightmore is necessary to acquire properties sooner than later. I think these will have to be closed by January 1st, 2025, and therefore the urgent need for this amount of money. As Sam mentioned, we are applying for a variety of grants, including $20 million of EPA, which may be able to reimburse the selected funding mechanism. The next slide gives you justification for the 4 machines that we intend to purchase. These 4 is going to enhance the capacity for efficient and effective water and sewer repairs. These are versatile machines which significantly improve our ability to handle excavation tasks with precision, minimizing disruption to surrounding areas and streamlining the repair process. The small size of these machines make them ideal for accessing tight spaces where large equipment is impractical. Investing in these machines will boost the operational efficiency and reduce overall project timelines, and ultimately benefit service quality and community satisfaction. So the impact of all the changes here, as I mentioned before, there is no change to the 5-year program cost on an overall basis. It remains at $503.9 million for the 5-year period, which was the one that you approved in April. The FY25-26 budget will have a net increase of $9 million each year, and until we get SRF in future years, it's going to reduce our FY27 through 29 cost by $6 million each year. In the sewer fund, as I mentioned before, $974,000 is the net increase because of the funding from DTE Energy. Moving along. This is just a summarization of our funding sources. No significant changes except the one change in from SRF to bond and the addition of the DTE Energy check for sewer project. And these are the projects for water and sewer. The yellow highlights are the projects that we made changes. These are the detailed list of projects, and the yellow highlights will give you the ones that are impacted by this amendment. And there were no changes to anything else, including the vehicle or IT budget or even the facilities budget. With that, I conclude my presentation. I would like your approval to move forward with this to the full board, asking for the amendment.
Okay, commissioners, you've heard the presentation and the recommendations. Motion is in order to approve the amended budget.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
should I can't see the agenda. It's the presentation is still up.
Okay.
Okay, and the motion that you mentioned, I assume that's item D.
That is item D, 2024-203. Yep.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would move that the Board of Water Commissioners for the City of Detroit Water and Sewage Department, SIPO Committee, approves the amendment to the Water Supply System 5-year Capital Improvement Program for fiscal years 25 through 29 and the fiscal year 2025 capital budget, and further authorizes the Director and Chief Financial Officer to take such other action as may be necessary to accomplish the intent of this vote.
Okay, is there support? Okay, I support the motion. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, this item stands approved. Next item on the agenda is item 2024-204. The Board of Water Commissioners for the City of Detroit Water and Sewage Department It requires an amendment to the sewer disposal 5-year capital improvement program. And I'd like to ask someone to entertain a motion on this item, and then I'll get the presentation.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, you're
I would move
recognized.
that, I would move that the Board of Water Commissioners, through the Capital Improvement Committee for the City of Detroit Water and Sewage Department, approves the amendment to the sewer disposal system SDS 5-year capital improvement program for fiscal years 2025 through 2029 and fiscal year 2025 capital budget, and further authorizes the Director and Chief Financial Officer to take such other action as may be necessary to accomplish the intent of this vote.
I support this motion, and I'd like to ask who will be making the presentation for this item.
So, Commissioner, the presentation I made supports these two resolutions.
So this is a companion motion. And so at this time, we've heard the presentation, and I will now call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, this item stands approved. Next item on the agenda is the planning calendar, and which states review of maintenance and repair. Sam, are you trying to say something?
I was trying to unmute.
Okay.
We move that to next month to not overburden this meeting with too many presentations, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so noted. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is other matters. I know of none. The next item is next meeting, and the next meeting is November 6, 2024. Then we'll now at the next item, which is adjournment. A motion is in order to adjourn.
Move, Mr. Chair.
Support. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.
Okay, our next meeting will start at 2:30.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I would like to call to.
Can you hear me okay, Mary?
Hear you just fine. You're coming through great. Thanks. I'm calling the Customer Service Committee meeting to order. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll? Or is it Mr. Secretary?
It's Madam.
Okay, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairperson Blackman,
Present, Detroit.
Commissioner Garcia,
Present.
Commissioner Forte is absent. Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Very good. Thank you so much. I'd like now to ask for approval of, pardon me, approval of the agenda as presented.
So move.
But
Properly moved and I support. Any discussion?
Aye.
All right, all those in favor, aye. Thank you. The agenda stands approved. The next item is the approval of minutes of September 4th. Is there a motion?
So move, Madam Chair.
Moved by Commissioner Garcia, seconded by myself. Any discussion? Hearing none, all
Yes,
those in
support.
favor of approving the minutes indicate by the sign of aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion, nay, motion carried. And the next item then is public participation. Is there anyone who has indicated a willingness or desire to speak before this committee?
Madam Chair, this is Brian Peckinpah, Public Affairs Director for DWSD. I'd like to read the instructions.
We have anyone who said they would like to participate, Mr. Peckinpah?
Oh, we do have 4 hands raised, so.
All right, then please read the instructions.
Okay, thank you. To make a comment, please raise your hand by using the raise hand icon on your desktop or mobile device. If you are calling into the meeting by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. After your name is called, IT will give you permission to unmute. In order to begin speaking, you will have to unmute yourself. To do so, press the unmute button, which is the microphone icon if you're online, or *6 if you are calling in. As a reminder, you will have a limit of 3 minutes to make your comment. There will be a timer indicating your remaining time. If you're online to make a comment, we kindly request you fill out the comment card link that's located in the chat. By filling out the card, we will have your contact information to follow up appropriately. If you are unable to click the link, please let us know and we'll provide a phone number to reach out to you and get your information. You will only be called upon once the chair closes public comment for this committee. There will be no other comments from the public and all attendees will remain muted for the duration of the meeting. Thank you for your attention. And Madam Chair, the first person is Cecily McClellan.
Thank you very much. Ms. McClellan, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. Cecily McClellan with We the People of Detroit. I just recently seen an article that was in Planet Detroit, and it discussed, the name of the article is Can't Pay Your Energy or Water Bill in Detroit. These programs can help. I thought it was a quite detailed, thorough article. And as it relates to the recertification process for the Detroit Lifeline program, I think it provided more information than I've seen thus far, in the sense that it discussed that the residents could be added to a protected list. It also indicated that they had up until October the 31st to register or recertify for the Detroit Lifeline program. And what was extremely beneficial is that it had an application directly linked to Wayne Metro, where the recipient can complete the application and then upload it to Wayne Metro. I think it's crucially important that customer service be aware of these processes, because as residents call in that are currently enrolled in Lifeline, they are able to share this information. I think that the link that has been provided by Wayne Metro would have been extremely beneficial if it could have been added to the flyer that went out in the mail, as well as this link should be made available online to any residents so they can complete this and submit it to Wayne Metro and schedule their appointments. So I just wanted to share this resource, this information, and hope that it can coordinate or assist in the coordination between DWSD and Wayne Metro in serving those residents and ensuring that current residents on the Detroit Lifeline are not terminated unnecessarily because of a lack of information. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. McClellan. Before you leave, where did you see this information?
It's Planet Detroit. It's an online resource for information. Planet Detroit.
Thank you very much for sharing that with us. And thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry. We do know we have others. Who is the next person?
Madam Chair, the next person is Jacob Graham.
Okay. Welcome, Mr. Graham. Mr. Graham, are you there? Mr. Graham?
Hello, yes.
Oh,
Yes,
I can hear you now.
great.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to this committee. My name is Jacob Graham. I'm a part of the Sheridan Townsend Block Club. I live on Townsend Street. I'm just here to talk about my alley's square basin restoration. First off, I'd like to say thank you so much for repairing and upgrading the square basin at the end of the alley near Charlevoix Street. That has been working so well with the most recent rain that we've had. That being said, we do still have a major part of the alley that was dug up at a similar time. And just to offer some timeline on how that worked, the crew showed up and maybe 200 or 300 feet in from Charlevoix. They dropped off some very large pipes, maybe 4 feet wide. They dug a huge hole, maybe 20 feet by 20 feet, busted through the cement with all of their tools, and then filled that in with temporary dirt. They then proceeded to move towards Charlevoix and dig out and reinstall the catch basin. When they came back to do the cement restoration, they poured cement around the catch basin, but they did not pour cement around that first large hole that they dug. Then there was a large pile of dirt on the street, and they smeared that dirt all across the alley between the catch basin and that hole. So over the cement alley, now there's about 3 inches. It varies 2 to 3 inches of dirt just smeared over the cement. And so I fortunately found Mr. Peckinpah's contact information at a city budget meeting, and I was able to text him some pictures and videos of the crews that what they did, and there's been some questions on whether or not it was a private group that did part of it. I don't think so. It was all done in the same 2 weeks. And I hopefully have been able to provide additional pictures to Mr. Peckinpah. So anything that this committee can do to help get this restored, I really appreciate your time, and thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments. And Mr. Peckinpah, I'm certain we're on top of this, so you'll be reporting back to us regarding the progress on the communication with the customer.
Madam Chair, Sam Smalley, Deputy Director, we will again take another look at it, but based on the pictures that he sent, I've talked to the inspector. He says that's not the crew that turned the lamp hole into a catch basin, but we will again check it out. If it was us, we will repair it. Otherwise, we believe that we have completed all of our work out there, but we will take another look and report back to the board.
Thank you very much, because there seems to be some confusion on his part as to who's responsible. So we look forward to hearing from you. All right, thank you. Our next customer.
Madam Chair, we have D'Amico Williams.
Mr. Williams, welcome.
Hi, Commissioner Blackman. Good afternoon. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much. I just wanted to comment quickly in regards to the lifeline. And here it is, October 2nd. I would like to be interested to know how many people have recertified or got into the program since the insert went out in the water bill. I also wanted to share a little information. I think in all of our efforts, what we want to do is help the water department. We're not trying to fight the water department or go against the water department. We just want to be a partner and actually making sure that people get the information and that they're able to enroll and they're also to, get with no problem, no stress, no intimidate. And we thank you so much for working with us and working with the general public and community that is trying to keep their water on. I think we don't show much thanks to you all as we should, because we're all trying to make sure that all of us are doing the right thing and making sure that people have affordable water and making sure that they have access to water. I also want to say my observation is that, yes, there needs to be somewhat of an effort to make sure that they're tracking people that are being recertified and have to re-enroll, and also those that are new. One observation made is that Wayne Metro, there should be a representative from Wayne Metro that should be along with the customer service director, Max Phillips, to make sure that they are reporting um, at least every month by week, and that should be updated online in the data portal. Uh, I've looked at information as well, but I'm also keeping my ear to the ground. So for the past month, I've been sending emails out. I've been blasting, ringing the alarm, making sure that everyone knows that, it's about to get cold out here. So you need to be checking in. And most people have told me that um, they have been able to check it. I was able to help one guy get his water turned back on, and we're still a work in progress. But the trust, the rapport that this department is to improve and to work on is something that needs to be handled. And I also had another comment in regards to the videos. I was flashed back to a memory that happened in 2020 when you all were on Microsoft Teams and we begged you to get on Zoom so that we would have greater access. And those meetings should be televised, and they should be. You are a public municipal utility, so you have to have something of a actual netway. I mean, yes, you have the YouTube running right now. That's great, but also we wanted those videos from before so that we don't get sued. Thank you so much for taking my comments. Have a great day.
Thank you for your comments. Next, who is the next person?
Madam Chair, the next person is Narelle Hemphill.
Welcome, Ms. Hemphill. Please proceed.
Yes, good afternoon to the chair and to the body. Thank you so much for allowing us this opportunity to talk. I just want to echo what Cecily McClellan was saying about the Lifeline plan and the recertification. It is imperative that we get this information out. I know that Planet Detroit did run that article that does give the link to Wayne Metro's recertification. Is that being shared anywhere else? I have not seen DWSD put anything out with that information. That was the first time I saw that link. In the first place, I saw it being shared. So again, I haven't seen it on any socials anywhere. And also, when did the second flyer go out in the in the Lifeline customers bills? I talked to a few customers actually in community, and they were saying that they did not receive anything in the bill. They did call Wayne Metro, and then Wayne Metro ended up texting them a link, and it was the same link that was posted in the Planet Detroit article. So as we are in October now, and it was already said that all residents who were in Lifeline would be removed as of October 1st, unless they recertify, and that there is a list where residents can start the recertification process. And once they do, they're on a list that's protected from water shutoffs. I think that it's imperative that we get this information out, that we get as many people as possible to recertify. It took us, what, 2 years to get those 26,000 people on Lifeline. And right now, we know that Wayne Metro does not have the capacity to process those 26,000 people. So it's probably going to take about 6 to 9 months to get everybody recertified. So do we have a plan for what we're doing for residents in the meantime while this recertification process is happening? And do we have a plan for how we are going to educate the community about the recertification link and the process for being protected against water shutoffs? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Phillips, I think we have on several occasions tried to indicate the process for making sure that our customers get recertified. Is there any comment you'd like to make at this time?
Yeah, Madam Chair, thank you. So yes, my comment would be is that, we've sent out 2 separate letters, 52,000 letters, and those letters each contained a link, which is a QR code to make it as obviously we can't have a customer click on a piece of paper and link to a website. So we included the QR code that all they have to do is take a picture of it with their phone, and it takes them directly to the form that both Ms. Hemphill and Ms. McClellan have referenced in both of their comments. I've personally done it on several occasions. I try to do it every 2 to 3 days just to make sure that it's still working, and it does. Within about 15 to 20 minutes, I receive a response back from Wayne Metro telling me that they received my application. So I fill it out just as if a customer was completing it, and it works just fine. So again, 52,000 letters to each one of our Lifeline customers has gone out. I should also note that Planet Detroit specifically reached out not only to the Detroit Water and Sewage Department, but also to Wayne Metro to provide context and comments directly to the article. In fact, I think that you'll find the article directly quotes our Director of Public Affairs, Brian Peckinpah, in the article, as well as Shama Mounzer, who is the Director of Programs at Wayne Metro. So the information that's contained in the article has come directly and quoted directly from Detroit Water and Sewage Department and Wayne Metro, who are completing the program. So that would be those would be my comments, as well as, yes, I understand that there is 26,000 people that are on the program currently that need to recertify. And so I think we've communicated in advance without having people forget. If you do it too far in advance, we know that nearly 11,000 people have already reached out to recertify within the program. And one of the things that we've done, again, actually 2 things, we've informed everyone, as long as you let us know that you want to recertify, we will protect you from shutoff while Wayne Metro is completing the recertification process. The other thing that that management at the Detroit Water and Sewage Department has done, as they've also stated, and I guess I'll restate it now, is that during the month of October, which is the recertification October 1st starts the recertification process, everyone that is currently enrolled and current on the Lifeline program will receive their same Lifeline bill during the month of October, just to ensure, because we know there's a lot of people that need to be recertified. Although I guess my last kind of, question back, and I don't know if I'm allowed to ask questions not being a part of public comment, but Ms. Hemphill stated that it'll take 6 to 9 months for everyone to be recertified. I would just like to, I have not heard that from Wayne Metro at all. So I'm not sure if there's a source to cite for that, but that would be my only question I guess I would have. And I will certainly look into that with Wayne Metro. They just started the recertification process on October 1st, which was 24 hours ago. So I'm not sure where the 6 to 9 months is at, but I will certainly look into that. Any other questions I can answer for you, Madam Chair?
If there are any questions by the committee members, Mr. Phillips.
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
I mean, recertification is not a new process. It happens every year. I mean, what's different is the sheer number of people we have in Lifeline, but this is not unique or something that's new. And so, you know, I know everybody wants to put billboards out. It is more effective to contact the people that are in Lifeline than to use a shotgun approach and just start spending resources to send information to people that don't need the information. And so we've absolutely seen the article that's, you know, being referenced here. As Matt indicated, we have an RQ code that we're pointing people to that makes it very easy. And it's in everybody's interest, especially Wayne Metro, to get people recertified. They get paid per applicant. And so it's in their interest to get this done. And we're all working hard. And as Matt indicated, it's only been one day. You could start the process yesterday, October 1st. And so we will keep everybody informed, and we will continue to have meetings with anyone that wants to have a meeting about this issue, so that hopefully they feel like they're in the loop and having the most current information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Director. I guess I'm satisfied with what I'm hearing from the department and the efforts that are taking place to make sure that we get all of our customers recertified. We're doing, I think, everything we can to make sure that this happens. It is in our interest, it's in the customer's interest to have this process go smoothly and to get as many recertified as are needed to be recertified. There are no further comments from committee members. Do we have anyone else who wishes to address the board?
Madam Chair, Gwendolyn Howard has her hand raised. Gwendolyn Howard.
Gwendolyn Howard, please welcome, and please give us your comment.
Thank you so much for taking my call, and I am in motion. But not to be repetitious, but of course we the people, and we're hearing different numbers at different times. Just like Commissioner Brown just said, that the process started yesterday, but you had a report out that so many people had done this before, or it became we got 11,000 that have already done it. If it just started yesterday, and even in your meeting before this one that I was in, the report out was that we had so many people already being processed. But where's that information? And no, recertification is not new, but the recertification process is that usually, especially if it's going to end October the 1st, the process would have started September the 1st. So you had those 30 days to have it before the actual day comes in. Now we're hearing the November 1st, but again, it should say October 31st, because November the 1st would be too late in reading what you're saying. And that was the first time we saw the link for the application. Of course, we knew the QR code, but in our last community meeting, we had a lot of customers stand up and say that they did not get the leaflet or the information in the mail, and they are on Lifeline, and they did do what they needed to do because we're putting that information out there. We've been advocates for your program from the beginning because it was the best thing going for the residents of the city of Detroit. But this recertification process has brought up a lot of questions and a lot of different answers to the questions. So thank you so much for taking my call.
Well, thank you for calling and voicing your concern. I just wanted to, yes, who was that?
It was Matt Phillips, Madam Chair.
Yes, please, yes.
I would also like to reference the fact that the Detroit Water and Sewage Department has updated their website to include data on recertification and pending applications that we've never done in the past at the request of the advocates. As you know, we the people specifically have asked us to provide information that we've never provided in the past that is completely fresh. Again, it's only been 24 hours, and we've included that. And I know our partners at Wayne Metro have also directly communicated with we the people to let them know exactly what is happening with the recertification process, how many people have applied, and you'll see that again today, that I will present today to this board as well. So I just wanted to mention that we are trying to be as transparent as possible. I'm not sure how much faster we can react than 24 hours worth of turnaround time.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. I think the important thing is to restate is that the process could not have begun until October the 1st.
That is absolutely correct, Madam Chair.
And that's where I think we are kind of maybe missing communicating that as well as we need to those who are concerned about how many have been recertified and how many are left to be recertified. So thank you for clarifying that again, once again. Is there anyone else who would like to address the committee at this time?
Madam Chair, there are no other hands raised. And just a reminder to the public that once you make your public comment, there's no other second opportunity to make a comment. Well,
Thank you. Thank you for that reminder. Okay, if we have no further people who are ready for or who have indicated a willingness to speak under public participation, we're closing public participation at this time and moving on to communications. We have none. Unfinished business, we have Mr. Graham, restoration, and I believe we heard from Mr. Graham earlier. Is there anything further to be stated on that particular issue?
Madam Chair, yeah, nothing on that issue. I just wanted to let you know I've joined you.
Thank you.
Started in the midst.
We're glad you're here. Thank you so much. Let the record so reflect. Okay, is there anything else for as I was saying on the Mr. Graham's issue that needs to be added at this time? Hearing nothing on that issue, we're now under new business. And we're on the 2024-200 customer service presentation. Mr. Phillips.
Madam Chair, thank you. I'm going to share my screen.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair, can you see my screen?
I see your screen.
All right, excellent. So, Madam Chair, I'm going to kick this off by just saying that we had an extraordinary month and an extreme number of our customers that reached out to us this month, mainly driven by non-payment enforcement, Easy Pay, and the Lifeline program. We received almost 63,000 phone calls during the month of September. A little over 7,200 email inquiries came in for a total of 70,000 total customer touch points, individual conversations with customers for the month of September. In the 5 years that I've been with the organization, this has been the highest that I've ever seen. We had a little over 3,500 contacts a day to our forecast of 1,400. 160,000 total customer contacts came in. As you know, that I've already stated, 70,000. We talked to 70,000 individual customers during the month, and at 160 contacts, that means our self-service options in the phone system have answered over half of all the questions that customers have. So that's fantastic. That means it's doing its job. We were 150% over forecast on a daily volume, and 14% of our calls were answered within 2 minutes. Any questions about our statistics for the month of September on this slide?
You want to comment? Well, you're probably going to show it in the future. So the 14% of the calls answered within 20 minutes is below your objective. So if I'm not mistaken, I think that's correct. You're nodding your head. Yes, I don't hear any comment. Are you there, Mr. Phillips?
Yes, I'm here, Madam Chair. I'm sorry, you broke up for just a second. My apologies.
Okay, no problem. I was just saying that the 14% is under your objective. But
it is under the objective. Yes, ma'am.
But with the number of inquiries that you received, it was a tremendous number that you handled this past month. So please.
Yes. Thank you. So our average speed of answer for the month of September was 8 minutes and 29 seconds for a 20% service level. That means 26% of our calls were answered within 2 minutes. So a quarter of our calls. The average speed of answer on the non-emergency line was 30 minutes and 57 seconds, or 1%. Our customer satisfaction, and this goes to show, even with the sheer volume of calls, the time that our customers waited to speak to us, our staff has remained true to course, which is remain professional, courteous, and empathetic at all times. And that shows directly This is a anonymous survey that is sent to every single customer at the end of each call if they choose to answer. Our customer satisfaction was at 81% with a goal of 72%. So we exceeded that for 13 straight months in a row. And our first call resolution, and this is the ability that our customers answer to say, was my issue resolved at the end of the call? And that was at 72%. The industry standard is 71%. That's 2 months in a row. So fabulous work by our team. I know they're busy taking calls right now. There's 56 calls in queue at the moment, so I know they're all busy, but if they could hear me, I would say great job, team, for being at the utmost of providing the best customer service to our customers. I think one of the amazing things that came out of the month of September was the fact that we received nearly 11,500 Easy Pay calls during the month of September. So that means that the Easy Pay program is definitely still 2 months into the program. 8 weeks ago, we announced Easy Pay, and it still has, it's still top of mind with all of our residents. So that means it's working fabulously. So we're extremely happy by that outpouring of support for the program and the interest. And I think you'll see that in a minute and where our current numbers are at. Any questions, Madam Chair?
That's what I was about to ask the committee if they had any questions on in the slides so far or comments. Again, I would add to your commendations to staff, Mr. Phillips, on the really the outstanding job they're doing in handling this huge number of requests we're getting in so many different ways. And we do offer our commendations for their hard work. Not just hard work, their efficient work. Okay, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Excuse me one moment,
Madam Secretary?
Mr. Phillips. Yes, Madam
Thank you.
Chair, it is 3 o'clock and we need to recess and call the HR meeting to order.
That's this meeting to the call of the chair. Thank you very much.
Tamara, you can go ahead and take over my screen to bring up the agenda for
HR.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, we will now call the Human Resources and Organizational Development Committee to order. Madam Secretary, could we have a roll call, please?
Chairperson Davis.
Present.
Commissioner Blackman.
Present, Detroit.
Commissioner Garcia.
Present.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We'll now recess to the call of the chair.
All right, we will resume the Customer Service Committee meeting. And we were in the process of, I don't see my agenda.
We were just in the customer service presentation.
Okay, please continue.
All right, is my screen back up?
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you. So we're going to move on to the key results for the Lifeline Affordability and Easy Pay program. So this is a new number, big number. So as of, this is actually a recommendation from our advocates is to include Easy Pay pending applications, recertification applications at all levels of all of our affordability programs on one page. So I'm happy to report that we have nearly 52,000 Detroit accounts and residents, households that are protected from shut off currently. And that is 26,721 of our residents and households are benefiting from the Lifeline program during the month of September. Easy Pay currently has 8,000, this is as of Monday morning, 8,628 households registered in accounts on Easy Pay, 2,100 still in the 1030/50 program. Net new households looking to get into the Lifeline program is a little over 4,000, and pending recertification is 10,507. So that's how we derive at 51,993. So this is by far the largest I've ever seen, and I would venture to guess is that there is no other water utility in the United States that has anywhere near this type of success and protection for their residents. So I think we should all be very proud of what we've accomplished in the last 24 months.
Justifiably so. Any comments or questions, commissioners? Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Please proceed. Those are great numbers.
Thank you. Just looking at what do these programs cost us, and specifically on the Lifeline program, we have provided over $20 million in gap payment assistance for Lifeline customers. We've forgiven nearly $47 million worth of arrearages or past due balances. The big word is arrearages, but past due balances of our Lifeline customers in the last 24 months, August of 2022 to 2024, for a total of $67 million in affordability payment assistance to our customers. I again make the statement again, I don't think there's any other water utility in this country that can even come close to stacking up to this type of performance that we've seen with our department. So we've received from other grants, state, federal, local, the RAP program, Great Lakes Water Authority, that type of thing, just a little over $23 million to go against that $67 million tag, which leaves a remaining balance. This is the part that is, I guess, not recovered. I call it, it's the portion that at the moment we're eating, that's what I call it, almost $44 million. So I think that this is a very well-stated representation from a financial perspective in very simple terms.
Questions or comments? Matt, that $43 million bothers me. So
I have a question.
Good. Is that you, Commissioner Garcia?
Yes, Matthew, I guess the period of forgiveness, 46,000?
46 million.
Okay, I guess my question is, do we apply somewhere for that kind of loss, or we just write it off, or what exactly happens?
So Commissioner Garcia, that is, yes, we do advocate for every type of funding, so that the 23 million, the total funds received that you see on the screen there, the $23.3 million, those are funds that we've advocated for to receive from the federal government, like the LIWAP program, and Wayne Metro applies for that on our behalf. There's programs like the local water utility affordability program that's offered from the state of Michigan, the governor's budget item of the state of Michigan water affordability grant, we call that WAG. So that's out there, and it's also the work that Deborah Pospich and Gary Brown have worked tirelessly, probably over the last 18 months with Senator Chang to get that legislation put in place and set up. And we partner with Wayne Metro and We the People of Detroit to push and advocate for those types of funds. So yes, we do work very hard to try to get it, but the funding that is currently available does not meet or match the need that is within the city.
So we don't expect to recover it all, Matthew, am I correct?
At this time, no, but that's why it's extremely important that, like, Senator Chang's legislation gets passed so that we can receive those funds on behalf of our residents to help them make their bills affordable, to put those funds towards this, I guess, negative $43 million. I'm not an accountant, so I'm not sure the exact terminology to use, but I'm trying to use layman terms. That's the only terms I know.
Oh, okay, Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner.
I think that it's very important, I think, to the residents of the city of Detroit, especially when we have people always bringing up some issues about cutoffs and, disconnect and whatever the stuff is. I really do believe that it's really important to inform the citizens of Detroit about the forgiveness program and the amount of money we're talking about. I think it's imperative that people know that. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I'm just thinking out loud here. That's a lot of money for the city of Detroit. When you think about 8 years ago, we recovered from bankruptcy. I don't know. I'm just thinking, Madam Chair, that there's got to be a way that we inform the public that the water department is doing everything it possibly can, including eating some of this cost. So there's got to be a way we can inform the public, Madam Chair.
it's a delicate matter, because we are using money, that other customers might say, well, why are you doing this? I think it's important for us to be able to tell our story and tell it well, so that they understand the customers were able to help and still get them paying on their bills. That's the most important part, that they are paying on the bills. And so, Mr. Phillips, I guess I would lean toward you to help me come up with the words that Commissioner Garcia is kind of asking us to be able to convey to our public, as well as to, I think more than that, people who have never stopped paying their bills.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I think that my passion hopefully comes through in this conversation and has come through. And the reason why I'm passionate in my prior comments, even before this meeting started, is because I just see this as, not happening anywhere else. And the colleagues that I talk to across the country, my colleagues, are just absolutely amazed at what we do and how we've done it. And we definitely are setting the standard. I'm actually going to yield to Director Brown, because I think he is.
Yeah,
I think he's got some words to say.
I mean, yeah, a couple of things. Number one, we've kept rates below 3% average for the last 9 years at 2.9. Even when inflation is at 6, 7, and 8%, when the utility rates are going up, the utility costs for DWSD goes up and chemical costs goes up, we've still kept rates at less than 3% on average over the last 9 years. That's phenomenal. That can't continue if you continue to bleed this type of cash. That red figure will eventually get rolled into rates, into next year's rates. Now remember, when we build our budget, when Istaker builds the budget for next year, he's building it on a 90% collection rate, meaning that 10% we're not intending on collecting, that the budget's not built on 100% of our collection rate of what we bill people. It's only built on 90%. So right at the beginning, we're as Matt would say, we're eating 10%. And then when you add these type of numbers onto that, it's imperative that we get some either federal or state aid to help our customers pay these bills, or you're going to have to increase rates. No one wants to see that happen because it would simply exasperate, the problem. And so when you see us pushing very hard to get our collection rate up to 90%, that's why, so that we don't eventually have to pass this bad debt off into rates. We want to continue to keep rates affordable for our low-income customers.
Well, not just for the low-income customers, for all of our customers.
For all of our customers. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Better choice of words. For all of our customers, yes.
Just a comment, and perhaps it's something that can be done on an annual basis, but I think I'm just kind of going off the comments that Commissioner Garcia made. There may be a way that from a public communications perspective, we can share, annually or share periodically. I view this as an investment in the affordability of those who cannot afford to pay their bills. And it would be really good to just share that. Now it does bring forward the question of, that affordability, it has to be paid for some way. And it's obviously paid for the rates that are charged to others who can pay or who do pay. And so but I think it's helpful to, at some point, share it, whether it's verbally or whether, so that people know that there is an investment that's really deep and broad in, to support those who cannot pay. And $44 million point, I know it's a snapshot for a point in time, is a significant amount of money.
Extremely, yes.
I'll ask our communications team to craft a message that we can bring back to the board and start rolling out at least quarterly to the public. let us put our heads together and see what we can come up with. I'm sure we can come up with a way to make it not as complicated as, as it is, so that the average customer would be able to understand.
Thank you. That would be helpful. And are we using some of our, as we develop these presentations, shall I say, are we using some of our meetings in the community with the various block club associations to tell the message, or have we thought about using them and using that as an avenue, a venue?
Madam Chair, Brian Peckinpah,
Thank you,
Public
Mr.
Affairs Director.
Yes.
So, to Director Brown's point, we do, and your question, we have attended more than 300 community meetings this year, block clubs, neighborhood associations, city council meetings, the mayor's meetings, the district managers, they have meetings. And in order to, our team's been doing it, plus we have a contractor through Compass Strategies who's run by Jermaine Dickens, who also has 4 people that we schedule them to go out to various meetings so that we could spread our wings, so to speak, into all these different neighborhoods. And we do have a new presentation, which if you would entertain it, maybe at the next committee meeting, we can run through it. It's based on a presentation that Director Brown gave in July. We have drilled it down to more of a community-based presentation to show the collection rate, show where our rates go, and show what work we're doing across the city to improve the water and sewer infrastructure, and talk about Lifeline and Easy Pay. So it drills it down and makes it more to the 4th grade level, so to speak, to let everybody know and our customers know how we're using these dollars and the impact on our rate structure when people do not pay their bills, when they don't raise their hand for help.
I think that's extremely important for us to continue to get that message out, because everyone does not understand what happens when the bills are not paid, and they don't get the help they need to pay them. So thank you. I'm glad to hear we're doing that with community organizations, because I think there's going to be an ongoing need for that. So thank you, Mr. Peckinpah.
Oh, you're very welcome. And we just had a training with Compass Strategies on Monday. And they had some great feedback on our presentation, so we made some adjustments.
Oh, good.
To the
Okay.
presentation.
Any additional questions, commissioners? Does that help us a little bit?
And Madam Chair, just to the other commissioners that asked the questions about sharing, this is the site that Brian from Public Affairs and his team puts together overall, and this is specifically the Lifeline page that's got all the information, and at the request of the public, and we update this once a month. I know Brian's team tries to do it as I provide them the data, sometimes on a weekly basis. But you can see this is as of September 4th. Obviously, today's the 2nd, so we're only 24 hours into the month of October. But you can see to the commissioner's questions about, do we let folks know, and do we have a place to go? Here's exactly what Brian and I were talking about. We do put the numbers in here. This is, the amount of, bill debt that's been erased and monthly gap payments. So it is shared, but as far as a mailer to every household, no. But we are very transparent on what's happening with the program. So
thank you. It's an ongoing challenge to make sure our public is aware of everything we're doing to help. So thank you for those comments.
All right, Madam Chair, I know you can't see the agenda, so if you wouldn't mind, I'll help you. The next agenda item is the planning calendar.
I've got that. Okay, I see that.
Okay, if so moved, we can move on.
I don't see what are you going to tell me what the plan? Okay, yes, please continue.
Okay, and I am going to, Brian, I am sorry, this is presented by me. My apologies. This is presented by Brian Peckinpah, our Public Affairs Director. So I'll introduce you since I failed on introducing you properly. So.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. So this leads into our topic for the month, planning calendar for the Speakers Bureau, and leads right into our conversation we just had about community outreach. One thing I didn't mention, Madam Chair, is that we also, because of all these construction projects and lead service line replacements and Itron meter device upgrades, we are touching almost every house in the city of Detroit. We could provide a map of where Human Flyers, our contractor that's Detroit-based, has gone over the last year to all these houses to touch them, either for Lifeline or Easy Pay or our construction project, Stormwater in Brightmoor, or the Itron project. Regarding our community partnerships, part of our outreach also involves expanding by using our employees to tell the story of what DWSD is doing in the city of Detroit, as well as help people learn, including kids and families, learn about the water and sewer systems and learn about opportunities in the future in the water and sewer system industry to have potential career in water and sewer system industry or municipal government. So we've expanded this outreach. We did a partnership with Michigan Science Center earlier in the year, and we expanded that this summer with Detroit Zoo via the Belle Isle Nature Center. And we had 400 families, or excuse me, 400 people come to the Nature Center over a several-hour period. And we're very pleased and proud of our staff from all over the organization, from all divisions, maintenance and repair, engineering, stormwater, customer service, finance, and of course the public affairs team, who came out on a Sunday afternoon in the summer to participate in this project and educate families about the water and sewer system and give out backpacks to kids ahead of the school year. So here's a short video from that event. And thank you, Matt, Mr. Phillips. And I just want to give before we go to the next slide, I just want to give a shout out. She's not here now, but Alexis Ware helped us create the Speakers Bureau and was very, very much the leader behind it, encouraging, engaging, and recruiting staff. More than 40 staff participate in the Speakers Bureau now, and she, as a result of her success at DWSD, she was actually recruited by the mayor's office to be the deputy director of media relations over at the mayor's office. So that's where she's at now, and we're about to fill her position in the next couple of weeks with an individual from customer service. Our social media content enhancements, we've been doing a great deal of work to engage more. It's one thing to post on social media. It's one thing to do to actually engage with the public. So we've been doing more short videos about our projects. And the one you'll see in a little bit is Director Brown explaining the private sewer repair program. We call these reels. We're explaining our work, and these are very quick for us to create. We do it on site or we do it scheduled. We have between Kira Smith and Barry Jennings on our team, we're able to have the capacity to do that in the moment, or as I say in this slide, planned or scheduled. So here's Director Brown explaining one of the programs.
Larger opening that you can open up is where her backwater valve is. If that's put in the basement, it's pretty easy to go in the basement, just open it up, and as I've explained, inspect it to make sure that it stays clean. If it gets clogged up, it's not going to function properly. Because we did it outside, it's 10 feet below, and you're going to have to get a plumber to just inspect it every year or so. The second is a clean out. That's where most Detroiters would say, you get a plumber to put a snake in the line and clean it out, go all the way out to the sewer. That's what we put in a valve in order to get to the line.
Did you run a line here?
It's all the way to the sewer.
Okay.
All the way to the sewer.
So, Madam Chair and committee, the intention of those is to educate and also be authentic. That's a very authentic video in the moment. So, I will entertain any questions if you have them.
Committee, do you have any questions or comments on what we've just seen? I'm trying to understand how this I don't know what you call that you have outside now. Does that prevent customers from having to do the snaking out in their basements?
So, Madam Chair, a clean out in the backyard, I have one in my house, in my front yard at my house, allows the plumber to put the snake in the clean out in the cap in the pipe in the front yard or the backyard, mostly in the backyard in Detroit, to put the snake inside there rather than going into your home.
Your basement,
and they can
okay.
clean out. Yeah.
Oh, as people find out about that, I think you're going to get a lot of requests. But thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any questions or comments, committee? Okay, then we'll proceed on.
Madam Chair, that concludes the customer service presentation, and I apologize to Madam Secretary for going over by 26 minutes. My apologies.
The information was so good, I'm sure you'll get no negative feedback. So thank you for that. I can't see the agenda.
2 seconds there, Madam Chair.
Pardon?
Just 2 seconds. Here it is.
All right, very good. Thank you. So the next item then on the planning calendar is regarding Speakers Bureau. That will be when?
We just completed that, Madam Chair. That was what Mr. Peckinpah just presented.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I was looking for something else. All right, then.
That's okay.
I have nothing under other matters. So our next meeting is November 6th, as is everyone else's committee meeting on that same day. Chair will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Properly moved and supported.
Support.
That we adjourn this meeting. Thank you all so very much. We'll see you on November 6th.
All right, we will now reconvene the Human Resources and Organizational Development Committee. Is there a motion to approve today's agenda?
So moved, sir.
Support.
Motion's been made and properly supported. All in favor signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, that motion is carried. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of September 4th?
Move approval, Mr. Chair.
Support.
Motion's been made and properly supported to approve the minutes of September 4th. All in favor signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and that motion is carried as well. We'll now open up public participation. Mr. Peckinpah, do we have any hands at all?
Mr. Chair, there are no hands raised. Do you want me to read Mr. D'Amico Williams raised his hand. Do you want me to read the instructions or go right to Mr.
Let's just go right to it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Williams?
Mr. Williams, are you there? All right, Mr. Peckinpah, do you see any other hands?
No, I'm still here. I'm sorry, I didn't get the cue to unmute. Sorry about that. How you doing, Commissioner Davis? You all right, sir?
I'm fine, Mr. Williams. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks. Thanks for conducting this meeting. I just want to respond to comments and conversations that were had over in the last meeting. I want to applaud Matthew Phillips for a great job. 60,000 inquiries about the easy. That is amazing. I've never heard that number myself since I started doing this water work. This is amazing. Before we pop out the champagne and celebrate like a Tigers playoff win, let us continue to do the hard work it is to inform our customers, our citizens, our neighbors, and our family members that there is options and they will work with you. They will not shut your water off. I'm so happy for this opportunity that we're finally coming around the mountain and doing the hard work that's needed to make sure that everyone's water is turned on. So, to the community groups and to everyone, this is a time right now at October 2nd, 2024, that we should move forward into the future and making sure that this department delivers trust, integrity, and also the dignity of having love, compassion, and empathy within its customers of the city of Detroit. But the bad debt expense, people are paying their bills. Just want to point out that the bad debt expense of the $46 million still remains. Yes, that's going to have to come from federal. I saw a news article myself that the president, the incoming president, should she be elected, is going to have to do something about water insecurity in the United States of America, as far as people not being able to afford their bills. So she is going to have a plan. I know I've been trying to get in conversation with her team to make sure that a plan is in place. And through my efforts, I want to partner and continue to work with the water department to make sure that we do get any capitalization of that plan that she's going to introduce to save the investment of America and within our water systems. And there's also some other things that need review, because it's not just residential bad debt. There's also other expenses not being really talked about. I'm going to have to call Mrs. Michaels, the handy woman, because she doesn't like creepy guys, and we know that there's some creepy guys over the hands of the water and sewage financial. So we need to really be careful, but let's work together to combat the bad debt expense. Let's work together to prevent the debt from happening any further, and let's stop the bleeding. Let's love on our consumers, and let's thank them for everything they're trying to do. We're already suffering long enough. Thank you for taking my comment, and have a great day, all of you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Williams. Mr. Peckinpah, are there any other hands?
Mr. Chair, there's no hands raised.
All right. Seeing no hands, we will now close public comment. We have no communications, no unfinished business.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
We need to recess for a moment and open up the Finance Committee meeting.
Okay, we'll now recess to the call of the chair.
Thank you. We'd like to call to order the Finance Committee meeting. May we have a roll call?
Chairperson Forte,
Present.
Commissioner Einhauser,
Present.
Commissioner Coleman is absent. Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much, and we'll recess now to call the chair.
All right, we'll now reconvene the HR committee. And that brings us to new business item A, HR metrics, and Human Resources Director, Ms. Thornhill.
Good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon.
I will now cover the HR metrics. Can you see the HR screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, currently, you'll see our demographics by ethnicity with an employee count of 663. This number remains consistent from last month. Therefore, there's been no increase in employees. Next, we'll cover our residents and hiring. You will see in total the breakdown of Detroit and non-Detroit residents. Again, total population of 663 employees. We did not have any retirements since the last Board of Water Commissioners meeting.
Great.
Any questions? And we wanted to show you year over year how our employee headcount has been increasing. You'll see that now with 663 employees, we have a clear trajectory to 700 with 23 open positions still yet to fill at this point during the month of October. Are there any questions? Next, we'll take a look at our retirement eligible employees. We're still at 18%. Again, with 663 total population of employees. You'll see the breakdown here in terms of retirement criteria. Are there any questions? And next, you've seen this slide before, but it talks about the breakdown of classifications regarding who is retirement eligible. And 5 years ago, this was a concern because we truly didn't have a plan as to how we would backfill our retirement eligible employees if they were to retire at any moment. But for the past 5 years, we have been conducting succession planning meetings and building and developing plans with leadership, the leadership of the specific divisions. So now we have a safe way to backfill our positions without worrying. In addition to succession planning, we've also improved our recruiting strategy. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Are there any questions? Okay. Currently, we have 2 slides. We have 17 open requisitions, which equates to 23 open positions, as I mentioned a few seconds ago. So this is the first slide. Are there any questions? Okay, next slide. Any questions? Okay. Next, since our last Board of Water Commissioners meeting, we've had 2 recruitment events. Again, these are the events we conduct monthly that helps us build our pipeline to fill our positions, especially our positions in operations. We also conducted a career or a hiring fair today over at our Central Services facility where we filled 12 vacant positions on the spot. Are there any questions?
Chair,
Commissioner Blackman.
I'm just looking at the career resource fair at Durfee and the career fair at Detroit at Work. And in those instances, no one was interviewed.
No, no one was interviewed, but what we do, Commissioner Blackman, is we share information about DWSD and the type of open positions we have, and we do collect their information. We have them apply and we get their information so that when we have a hiring fair, they can just come on board and some of that paperwork has been reduced.
Okay, because I was looking at the number of the candidates who were seen, but at that point, they did not express an interest in the department, or how do we assess the value of those contacts?
Well, we do keep a list, and for those that we saw, they sign in. That's how we keep track of the numbers, and we just provide the information. And if they're interested, we do take their names and we make sure we contact them when we have a hiring fair.
Okay, thank you.
And the hiring fair is very organized, Commissioner Blackman. We have slots where we have people scheduled, so it runs like a fine-tuned machine.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Any other?
Question?
I'm sorry, Commissioner Garcia.
Yeah, I guess the question is, and it sticks out in my mind, 150 people at one event and 50 at another, and no one was interviewed and no one was hired. Does it send a wrong message here? Because why are we having a fair if there's no positions available?
Well, you have a couple of things to consider. So we have recruiting fairs or recruitment events where we share information about DWSD and to see if there's interest. And then we also have hiring fairs where we actually hire people on the spot. So what we found, Commissioner, and this is a great question, Commissioner Garcia, what we found is that if we build a pipeline and assess the interest prior to having the open positions, we can fill positions quickly versus waiting to do it all at once. That really was a bottleneck for us. So we wanted to get a feel as to how many people were interested in working in DWSD first before actually having the hiring fair. That way, if a department has an opening, we can quickly schedule someone for an interview instead of having to have a career fair and then see who's interested and then schedule them. If that makes sense.
It does, he said, but I'm trying to figure out how long do they stay in that pipeline? Is it 3 months, 4 months, 5 months? You know, what are we talking about here?
Well, we have the career fairs monthly at Durfee and at Detroit at work. So that's ongoing. So a lot of times, and the good question, Commissioner Garcia, a lot of times we'll contact people and they may have other employment. So when you talk about how long people stay in the pipeline, that's variable. It really depends. But our goal is to act as quickly as possible once we have an opening. And some of our entry-level positions, there's constant churning. So we generally always have openings here.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any others? Okay. Right, here's our planning calendar. And today we're just going to quickly touch on a little bit more of the recruiting aspect and some of the things that we've been doing. And I just want to show you overall how many career fairs we've had. In 2020, we did have 48 career fairs, so we kind of fell off a little bit. In 2021, we had 100. We increased back up. The pandemic slowed us down a little bit. And in 2022, you can see how many we had. No, excuse me, I'm sorry. In 2020, we had over 48 candidates for our various professional positions. I'm sorry. And in 2021, we had 100 candidates, but fewer career fairs for both of those years. So you'll see we had 13 career fairs in 2022 and 28 in 2023. And we want to put an emphasis on 2024. To date, we've only had 25 career fairs, but we have over 3,000 candidates. So we are improving our process year over year, and this is how we're able to quickly fill our positions. Are there any questions? I have one more slide to show you, and I'm really excited about this because this month on October 17th, we're going to conduct our first professional recruiting fair. So in the past, we've been posting on various job boards, on the city's job site, in various news articles, but we're going to do something different this time and have a career fair for our professional positions. And a few of those positions are listed on the screen. And we're actually going to have members of those divisions present to screen potential candidates. So we're very excited here in HR and with our recruiting efforts. And again, this is on October 17th. Are there any questions?
I'm sorry, refresh my memory on what AB for Community Center is.
It's someplace in Detroit. I have the address.
Okay.
I'm not for sure what the AB means.
Right, that's what I was asking. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, because I did ask as well, Commissioner Blackman, so I can appreciate your question. I did ask. I'm looking for the answer, but I did ask. I said, where's this? But it is in Detroit. I remember the address is in Detroit.
Okay, thank you very much.
AB Ford Community Center is Lower East Side, just south of Jefferson Chalmers.
Thank you.
Someone put in the chat, formerly the Lennox Center, if that helps.
Not for me, but thank you anyway.
Yeah, Lennox is the base of, that's the Lower East Side. It's a very street leading into the river. So that's where that is, Lennox Street.
Thank you. So we're really excited about this.
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Thornhill. All right. Are there any other matters? Going once, going twice. Seeing no other matters, I believe the next item would be, our next meeting is November 6th. I'm sorry. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move adjournment, Mr. Chair.
Ford.
All right. Motion's been made and supported. We stand adjourned.
Thank you.
Go Tigers today.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'd like to resume the Finance Committee meeting. And the first item of business we have is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
And I'll support that. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the next item is the approval of the September 4th, 2024 meeting minutes. Motion?
I so move.
And I support it. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion is approved. And we'll now move into public participation. And I'll turn it over to this through. I don't know if we need to use the announcement again, but we can open it up for public participation.
Madam Chair, I apologize. We do have one hand raised. It's Norrell Hemphill. Do you want the instructions or go right to Ms. Hemphill?
Okay, the individual, is it Ms. Norrell, would you please, the floor is to speak.
Yes, good afternoon, Attorney Norrell Hemphill. I had a quick question. I noticed that there were a couple of changes to the Lifeline Plan policy document, particularly those that mentioned that arrears will be, arrear forgiveness for enrollment would be limited, or it seemed to be limited to first-time enrollment in the Lifeline Plan. Will there be a presentation on the proposed policy changes, and will there be an explanation of how those policy changes were decided and what the intended outcome is on those particular policy changes?
Okay, we have a question with respect to policy changes on the new document for Lifeline.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Phillips, Mr. Phillips, yes.
I'm sorry. Yes, I normally not in this meeting, but yes, Miss Deborah Pospich will be presenting during the Finance Committee meeting on the proposed changes to the board today.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So we'll have information on that in just a few minutes. Meanwhile, we'll continue on our, and Ms. Pospich is not yet in, so we'll continue on our agenda. And are there any other members of the public who would like to have raised their hand for speaking?
Madam Chair, there are no other hands raised.
And thank you, Mr. Peckinpah. So we are going to close out public participation and we'll move on to communications. We've received several items of communication. Is there a motion to receive and file?
I so move, Madam Chair.
I think there's a motion made. Support the motion. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion has passed, and we will move on to unfinished business. There is none. We'll move directly into new business. Item 8A. Is there a motion?
I am looking for it. Here we go. Madam Chairman, I move that we recommend to the Board of Water Commissioners the approval of DWSD contract 600664 with LGC Global Inc. for assistance with the maintenance, exchange, and repairs of water meter services for a total contract amount not to exceed $2,500,000 for a term of 5 years, and authorize the director to take any appropriate action.
And I support that motion. I'd like to ask Ms. Welch to present the summary of what we're looking at today.
Madam Chair, Michelle McKenzie, procurement analyst for DWSD procurement. Marquesha is at a conference and I am going to present the contracts this afternoon.
Wonderful, welcome.
All right, thank you. The first contract we have before you is for meter installation, maintenance, and repair support services. This is a 5-year, $2.5 million spend with an annual spend of $500,000. This contract assists the meter operations division by achieving service agreement goals, and the demands for the corrective maintenance and related meter exchange work cannot be met with the existing staff, primarily due to the volume of the work that exists. Through the solicitation, it was posted for 38 days and we received 3 proposals. The proposals were evaluated based on their work plan, and their organization. LGC was the highest ranked proposer, and they are a Detroit-based and Detroit headquartered business. Procurement is presenting this contract to the Finance Committee for approval.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. I have none either. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion is passed, and we're going to remand it over to review by the board. The next item is item 8B, 2024-193.
Yes, Madam Chair. I move the committee recommend to approval by the board contract number 6006670 with Major League Blasting LLC for fire hydrant blasting services for a total contract not to exceed the amount of $2,250,000 and for a term of 3 years, authorizing the director to take any appropriate action.
Thank you. I support the motion. And we'll ask Ms. McKenzie to present, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This contract is for fire hydrant painting for 3 years and $2.25 million with an annual spend of $750,000. It will service 15,000 DWSD owned and managed hydrants throughout the city. This contract will provide the following benefits. It helps protect the hydrants from corrosion. It helps provide visibility for emergency responders, and it is a visible neighborhood enhancement. This was a solicitation through a RFB for 39 days. We received 5 responsive bids. This is being awarded to the lowest bidder, Major League Blasting. Their insurance and clearances are valid, and we ask that procurement is presenting this contract to the Finance Committee for approval.
Thank you. Are there questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, all, and I say aye for the approval. That motion has been approved. And we'll move on to item C, 2024-194.
Yes, Madam Chair, I would move that the committee recommend the approval of, DWSD contract number 6006686 with Ajax Paving Industries, Inc. for cold patch material for a non-contract amount not to exceed $256,500 for a term of 1 year and authorize the director to act appropriately.
Thank you. And I'll just correct, I think this is a new contract amount.
Thank you.
Yep, and I approve that motion. Ms. McKenzie.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This contract is for the warehouse for cold patch for 1 year for $265,500. This is a critical inventory item frequently used by DWSD crews to help make work sites safe after repairs are completed. often used as a temporary fix until permanent restoration is completed, especially in the winter months because we can't lay concrete. This was solicited through a RFB for 22 days. We received 2 responsive bids. This is being awarded to the lowest bidder, Ajax Paving. Procurement is presenting this contract to the Finance Committee for approval.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
No.
Hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McKenzie. We'll now move on to item D 2024-195. And this is our June 2024 monthly financial review. And that his name is not here, but I'm assuming that's Mr. Rahman. It's going to be presented.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, it's going to be me. All right, we can have the presentation. Tamara. All right, next slide, please. Okay, good afternoon, commissioners, and good afternoon, Madam Chair. Istakar Rahman, Chief Financial Officer. Today, I'll be presenting the financial highlights for the month of June. This presentation also coincides with the fourth quarter ending for the fiscal year FY24. And therefore, I'll have some additional slides here. I'll make my best effort to go through them as quickly as I can. The first update is the year-end audit status. Plant and Moran, our external auditors, they have started the field work for the financial statement audit for fiscal year ending 2024. Currently, we are waiting for certain closing entries, especially related to employee benefits from the city of Detroit. These entries they all come from the city of Detroit because we share the same platform for employee benefits. We are waiting for some of these items like accrued compensated absence, workers' comp, and so on. Once these entries are received, we will be able to close our books. The auditors would be able to complete the audit. We are expecting the audit to be completed by December, not just completed, but the final report issued before Christmas. So based on that information in this presentation is preliminary in nature because they are subject to change based on what closing entries come in from the city and what adjustments, if any, the auditors propose. The fourth quarter year-end budget versus actual revenue is also preliminary, is not presented in this presentation. Normally we do it for the fourth quarter, but this fourth quarter being the year-end and pending all the adjusting entries, if any, and the closing entries from the city, there could be changes to the numbers that I'm presenting here. And therefore, this variance analysis for the fourth quarter is on hold. And my hope is I can present this to you in December when the audit's finally closed. Next slide. So going through the rest of the highlights for the month of June, for cash and investments, we continue to have adequate cash reserves to support both our operating as well as our capital programs. Combined cash and investment balance stood at $278.3 million at the end of June, which reflects a decrease of $13.5 million over May. And I'll explain that later in this presentation. When it comes to sales and receivables, our June sales were slightly down compared to May sales, down by $500,000. The June water retail receipts of $9.1 million kind of fell short of our target receipts by $0.6 million. And from the sewer side, our total receipts of $20.8 million also fell short of our target receipts by $3.1 million for the month of June. Receivables for all active accounts increased by $7.5 million, which amounts to 2.7% over May receivables. And the days in receivable increased by 3 days to 221 days for all active customer accounts. For active residential only, receivables increased by $4.5 million, amounting to 2.4% over May receivables. And the days in receivables also increased by 3 days, from 354 to 357 days. On a combined basis, our June collection rate was 79.9% for all active customer classes, which fell short of our May collection rate of 88.1%. Even the 3-month moving average collection rate fell a little bit when compared to May's rate. It stood at 84.6% compared to 94.7% in May. Volume and revenue metrics, water volume and revenue exceeded our budgeted expectation by 0.8% and 5.9% respectively. When it comes to meter equivalents and service charges, they both exceeded budget expectations by 8% and 4.4%. Sewer volume on the other side, both the revenue and the volume fell short of the budgeted levels by 6% and 0.8%. The meter counts and the meter service charge for sewer exceeded budget levels by 6% and 5.5%. Talking about drainage fees, our billed impervious acres fell short of our budgeted expectation by 1.1%, whereas the revenues associated with those BIAs fell short by 3.6%. Next slide, Tamara. This is a summary of cash and investments. As I mentioned before, $278.3 million is what we have on deposit as of June 30th. And I did mention that we fell short of our May balance by $13.5 million. 9.3 of that shortage was in water and 4.2 in sewer when you compare the funds. The largest decrease, as you can see in this table, is in the operating accounts for both water and sewer, about $8.8 million in the water fund and $14.6 million in the sewer fund. These were offset by increases of $12.8 million in the sewer I&E fund as opposed to the operating fund. The decrease in the watering operating fund is mainly due to the settlement of certain intergovernmental accounts. For example, we paid $6 million to the city of Detroit to settle purchase of a software for the supply chain model. And we also paid $1.3 million for our quarterly employee benefits, our share, to the city of Detroit. The decrease in the sewer operating account is mainly due to settlement of a loan between the sewer I&E and sewer operating accounts. We paid $10.2 million from the sewer I&E account by the year end to settle some old outstanding loans. There was also $1.4 million of employee benefit payments that we made to the city of Detroit, and that's a quarterly payment. And we also settled a $2 million payment with GLWA for shared services expenses. The balances in both the water and sewer operating funds kind of approximates our 3 months working capital needs. For water, it's $11.1 million, and for sewer, it's 13.9. So kind of hovering around that threshold for our operating capital needs. The next few slides are the same information, but in a graphical format. You'll see the big drop in the water cash, and that's because of the $6 million we paid to the city and $1.3 million for the employee benefits to the city. In the sewer cash, you'll see a similar fall. This is, again, payment of that loan to the sewer I&E, and then paying $1.4 million to the city for employee benefits. You'll see when you go to the I&E, the next slide here, you'll see that big increase in the sewer, which is because of the loan payment from the operating account. In the water I&E cash, the net decrease is very small, and it's a combination of disbursements for our improvement projects and the reimbursements we receive from the state for the through the state revolving fund accounts and the grant projects. Moving on to the next slide, which is the construction cash. It's kind of holding steady for both the water and sewer fund. As of the year end, there's no significant increase or decreases in these funds, which I think will be a different story 3 months from now as we start using some bond money for that service line. We expect this graph to decline slightly over the next few months. This is water and sewer cash at GLWA. This represents the cash held by GLWA in the trust accounts. Slight decreases in both funds due to the slower collection in the month of for the month of June. Water retail receipts, as I mentioned before, fell short of our target collection slightly. Target collection is 10.1 and we collected 9.1 for the water fund. I'm sorry, the target collection is 9.7 and we collected 9.1. Maize receipts is $10.1 million. Again. For the sewer side, again, we fell short of the target collections of $23.9 million. Our June collection for sewer side is $20.8 million. This represents our cash and investment position by fund, and it's presented to you on a quarterly basis. We don't present it every month, but just every quarter end. It gives you a comparative analysis of our cash and investment positions by quarters. So there are 4 quarters here, and you'll see the trend of our cash and investments over the last 3 quarters as well. The next slide is our cash and investment position by financial institution. These are the institutions that we hold our cash and investments. And again, this is a quarterly slide that we present to you so that you get an idea of our cash and investments by institutions over the last 4 quarters. Moving on to our operating cash quarterly presentation. This is a combination of operating cash, cash held by GLWA in trust, as well as the interfund accounts. And combined, it's called the net operating cash. You'll see that red line, which shows the trend over several months in the past. And you see that big dip here when you look at May and June, and that's all because of the transfers that I talked about, paying off our share of employee benefits, as well as paying for the supply chain module that we owe to the city of Detroit. Overall, June's net operating cash and interfund amounted to $35 million, and it shows an increase of $9 million over the past 12 months. The sewer side is a similar trend, a slightly less decline in the red line because there wasn't as much of a payment out to an outside agency. Overall, the June's net sewer operating cash and interfund stood at $54.2 million, which represents an increase of 18.4 over the last 12 months. Now we're switching gears to receivables. This is our summary of receivables by quarter. As mentioned before, our sales for June fell slightly, and receivables as well kept rising. Overall, for all customer classes, it increased by 2.7%. And for residential receivables, it increased by 2.4%. This is just a detail of the summary I mentioned in the beginning of this presentation. We continue to monitor our allowance for doubtful accounts. The net carrying value that you see here of $58.5 million represents approximately 18% of our receivables at the end of the month. Allowance continues to be 82% of total receivables, which is more or less similar to what we had in May. Another new slide that we present to you on a quarterly basis is our breakdown of receivables by number of days. It's also called the aging report. You'd see here that 46.4% of our total receivable is over 1 year past due. In addition to that, 32.7 million of inactive accounts are older than a year. Of the total receivables here of $287.1 million, 133 or 46.4% is over a year old, and residential receivables make the significant part of that that percentage. Here's the slide that shows you the 3-month rolling average of our collection effort for all classes of customers. If you look at the residential collection rate for June, it stood at 73.6%. This is a decrease from May, when we had 73, both from May as well as April. The 3-month moving average also continues to decline. So bottom line is residential collection rate continues to be a concern. Commercial and industrial collection rate, June shows a slight decrease, and the 3-month moving average continues to be in the mid-90s. For government customers, our collection rate continues to be in low 90s. The 3-month average was 98.7%. Drainage-only customers also continues to be a concern. Our collection rate continues to be in low 70s. Our expectation is high 80s or in the 90s, but we continue to be struggling in the mid 70s for drainage only customers. The next few slides, I'm not going to spend too much time. These are graphical presentation of our revenues and our water volumes. As I mentioned before, overall year to date, our volume is trending at 5.3% over the budget. For water commodity also, we are trending slightly higher when we compare our year to date actual water commodity revenues to the budget. Similarly, for the sewer side, you're going to go back to one more. Yeah, and then this is the chart for volume and commodity revenues for sewer, slightly down compared to the budget, but on a year-to-date basis, sewer volume is trending at 2.2% over budget, whereas the revenues for sewer is trending at 0.5%. This is the slide for the sewer survey charge and the meters. Again, the sewer meter count as well as the revenues are trending slightly over budget as of June 30th, 2024. Our drainage revenues, the BIA, which is the billed impervious acres, is at 1.1% below our budget, whereas the year-to-date BIA is also trending lower than the budget by 0.2%. When it comes to the revenue side, we are short again. Our year-to-date actual drainage revenue fell short by 3.2% of our budgeted revenue. The shortfall is a lot of factors in there, a combination of additional residential credits as well as increase in drain credits have led to this change in actual versus budget. That concludes the regular, but I want to go through, this is Lifeline. I know we talked a lot about Lifeline in the customer service committee presentation, but on a quarterly basis, I bring to you the financial highlights of our Lifeline plan. And these numbers will not match Matt's numbers because Matt presented as of September 29th or 30th, I believe. But these are the numbers for the fourth quarter, which ended on June 30th, 2024. So here, as of the year end, which is critical for us to understand, is that $40.2 million we have put in our arrears account, meaning when people sign up for Lifeline, we put their arrears in a forgiven at enrollment classification, which is at $40.2 million. As of June, again, we collected $16.4 million from various sources, whether it's state, regional, or federal grants. We also ended up writing off $8.7 million. Those dollars were written off because the state had told us that those cannot be reimbursed from any funding source or sources, and therefore we had to eat it at that point in time. Currently, we have $15.1 million uncollected in arrears just for the people who enrolled in Lifeline as of June 30th. The bottom part of the table gives a picture of our gap situation. The gap is the difference between what the actual bill is versus what the Lifeline customer pays, whether it's $18 or $43 or $56, whatever is the difference between the actual bill and their expected bill is the gap areas, which we normally cover through RAP contribution. So the total gap areas amounted to $16.3 million since the inception of the Lifeline plan. We got paid by RAP about $4.7 million that left us with gap areas itself of $11.6 million. So a combination of both the enrollment areas as well as the gap areas is $26.7 million. The alarming thing here is there was $26.7 million as of June 30th. And when you looked at Matt's presentation, the number swelled to $44 million. So we are looking at $17 million between June and September. That's what I call bleeding cash. And that's the concerning part, that we accumulated $17 million more in the arrears, total arrears between now and September end. Lifeline account arrear status, total outstanding balances were $5.8 million for 22,923 customers as of June. People who owed us money in excess of 60 days, there were 8,851 accounts, and that amounted to $2.9 million. Snapshot of the cost that we are bearing for the Lifeline plan here. Again, this information is as of June and will not match what Matt presented. We had 30,000 people protected from shutoffs, 24,000 people receiving benefits at that point in time. There was 3,700 people, customer accounts enrolled in payment plans. And I just want to make it clear, at that point in time, we did not have the Easy Pay. Easy Pay started end of July, so this is as of June. There are 2,000 customers who are pending eligibility for the Lifeline, and the middle one tells you the total cost of the program as of June, which is $56.5 million, the 40.2 in arrears and 16.3 in gap. Against that cost, we collected $29.8 million, leaving us a balance of $27.6 million. So overall, the program had cost us $26.7 million as of June 30, 2024. And this is pending any further governmental assistance, which we may or may not get. And
So,
finally,
Issachar, before you leave that slide, just back, you said the cost is 56.5. And what did you say we've collected against that?
we collected $29.8 million.
Well, did we collect that, or because I see that 8.7 million was
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah. Collections and write-off is 29.8. So actual collection is 16.4 and 4.7. It's just like
just a little over 21 million.
little over $21 million, and we had to write off $8.7 million. Now, this $26.7 million, which is out there, it's hard to say what part of that would be collected going forward. So that eventually will, as Gary mentioned earlier in the customer service presentation, all of that will be factored into our bad debt calculation going forward. And if we don't get funding, it'll somehow be, baked into our bad debt collection numbers and our revenue collection requirement, and will reflect in our rates.
And currently, those are all booked as receivables, probably the majority of them. over
Yes,
over 90.
yes.
Mhm.
And the last slide here, it just gives you a snapshot of what funding we are expecting in FY25. The funding that we know of, there's $2.5 million in RAP every single year, as you know. We contribute to the RAP pool, pot, as so does GLWA. There's complete total amount of $3.5 million, and this is net of administrative costs. So in real money, we have $2.5 million there. We are expecting $2.6 million from the SAMWA, the Water Affordability Grant, which was approved, I believe, in 2023, October. There is also $4.1 million from the Water Utility Affordability Grant approved in April of 2024. So all in all, I think we have $9.2 million that potentially could be used towards the arrears. But also keep in mind that we are enrolling new customers starting yesterday, as well as we are recertifying customers who are already in the plan. So all of those, especially the people we are enrolling for the first time, there will be arrears for those people that will be taken off their books or their accounts. So that'll also add to the arrears, and that'll also be subject to reimbursement from this pot of money. So that kind of completes my presentation.
Thank you for our preliminary year end. It was very comprehensive, very thorough. Are there any questions? I do have one. It's probably a comment more than a question. But the bright light here for me was with respect to our reduction in collections. It seems like we were traveling up, thinking about the graph that you showed, we're traveling up a steady improvement in collections, but have kind of dropped off fairly steeply as we headed towards year end. And that's the kind of at a low level across the course of a year. So just something I think simply for all of us to be aware of, collections are certainly off.
Yeah, and that was certainly a concern as of June 30th.
Yes.
Our Easy Pay plan started in end of July, and we have not seen the impact of that program yet on our collections. It usually will take 30 to 60 days before people, have to start paying on their commitment or their commitment under the plan. So I'm hoping that'll increase the collection going forward, and I'll be in a position to report better numbers next quarter.
Yep. Thank you. Other questions, comments?
No, ma'am.
Hearing none. We've just gone through what was due for the planning calendar, which was the June 24th monthly financial review. Are there other matters to come before the committee?
No, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Hearing none,
Oh,
our next.
I'm sorry, there is a
Oh,
next
we've
item,
got
right?
one other item. I'm
One
sorry,
item left, sorry.
2024.
Yeah.
205. We've got Ms. Pospich on the line. Yes, I saw her.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
All right, so after, this is Deborah Pospich. I'm a senior advisor to Director Gary Brown. I am working primarily on affordability matters for DWSD. And we've just heard CFO Istakar Rahman's very sobering report on the cost of Lifeline, the amount of arrearages that are still out there. We've made some changes to the Lifeline policy. For the most part, these are clarifications, but there are some significant changes that will affect currently enrolled customers. They have options, but there are some changes here that will affect their status as enrolled in the Lifeline plan. First of all, I'd like to go to paragraph section 6.5.1. We wanted to clarify that it's upon first enrollment in Lifeline that your arrearages are forgiven. We will use available funds to pay down as much as we can of the arrearages. But any that's still remaining after we've used all available funds will be written off. But that's a one-time only thing upon first enrollment. Section 6.8 is a new section, and we have learned that members of a household may be eligible for water payment assistance. So if you live in a household with someone and that household is at risk of service interruption, you can apply for the benefits, and that money that you receive can be applied to the account holder's account. So we made this a part of the policy to codify that the occupants can help contribute to any arrearages that accumulate after the account holder is enrolled in Lifeline. Those are called program arrearages, meaning you accumulated new arrearages when you're in the Lifeline program. So the occupant does not become the account holder. They don't apply for Lifeline. It's just that their benefits can be used to pay the account holder's program arrearages. So that's very important. Next is section 6.9.4. Now this section clarifies that once you're in Lifeline, and if you are unable to keep up with your payments, your $18 plus any overage for extra water usage, you may be unenrolled from the program. And if you're unenrolled due to non-payment, you cannot be re-enrolled unless that debt is paid in full. And going back to the prior section, 6.8, it may be that someone in your household can apply for some sort of benefits to help you become re-enrolled, help cover that debt. It may be that Wayne Metro finds some other money from some other source to help you pay off those arrearages to re-enroll. But from DWSD's perspective, once you are in arrearages more than 2 months, you will be unenrolled from the Lifeline plan. Next is section 6.11, which fleshes out more details about this recertification process. So as you know, the funding source dictates the recertification rules. Money from the state, their fiscal year is from October to September. So October 1st every year, they require us, if we want to use state funding for our program, to recertify the household income of people in our program. So as we're doing that, as we recertify people, if they have an arrearage, they cannot be recertified for the program. But again, it may be an occupant can find some funding. It may be that Wayne Metro finds some other source of funding to pay off that program arrearage so they can be recertified for another year. But if they cannot be recertified, their arrearages cannot be paid, then they become unenrolled. And if they want, they can enroll into the Easy Pay plan. They'll start receiving a regular bill, but they will have to pay off their arrearages through Easy Pay. So this is a significant change. The state funding, we rely heavily on our partners at Wayne Metro to exhaust all possible resources to help customers in need. This includes our Lifeline customers. And if there is a customer who cannot afford their $18 bill, that family may be facing some extreme poverty issues that, go beyond the scope of what the Water and Sewer Department can accommodate. But that's why we have the contract with Wayne Metro. That is their job, to look for all possible wraparound services, leave no stone unturned to try to keep these customers in Lifeline, pay off any new arrearages that accumulate. So these are the significant changes to the policy, and that is why we're bringing it to the board for approval. These are not just Scrivener changes or clarifications. These are material changes to the policy. So I'll pause here for any questions.
Okay, I see that we have a hand up from Commissioner Kinlock.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, so this change
as it relates to individuals who are not recertified, that they have the option to go to the previous program. But my concern is, when does the clock start ticking as far as the timeline for them to enroll into the other alternative plan? When does the clock start ticking as relates to water shut off? You know, is there a specific time or clock that is I guess that is wound down based on when they actually do not, from the time frame when they do not recertify?
Very good question. If they are not eligible to be recertified because they have an arrearage, they will be notified that they're not eligible. They will have at least 60 days to get into easy pay before they will go on to the service interruption list. We can say, in reality, it's not going to be an instant service interruption after 60 days. But the point is, to remain in good standing with DWSD, you either have to pay your full bill, be in Lifeline program and be fully compliant, or be in the Easy Pay payment plan. You have those are the three options to stay off the service interruption list.
Okay, okay, so we are just now getting to the time frame where
Yes.
we'll start assessing individuals who actually recertified.
Right.
Okay.
So Wayne Metro is October 1st. Yesterday was the start date, and we'll have a grace period most likely of another 30 days to help them catch up with recertifying all the current enrollees in the Lifeline plan. Simultaneously, they're entertaining applications from new customers. There's about 6,000, last I heard, of new people first applying to the Lifeline plan. So Wayne Metro has staffed up, and they are going through both processes at the same time: new applicants and recertifying current enrollees.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I just had a couple of comments you may want to react to, Ms. Pospich. This and the one, it seems to me that there is an opening to continue to support those who are in need of Lifeline and who qualify with this ability within a household to have someone else apply for the plan and be able to support the main account holder. And so that, I think, opens up opportunity to be supported in a household to the extent the account holder can no longer be supported. And I think that's a good thing.
Yes.
The other piece that I see is that, that I'm sensing is that there really is a sense of having those who are enrolled in the Lifeline plan or just be aware of their timetables so that they don't get kicked out of the program unnecessarily when they qualify for
Right.
piece. So it really is incumbent on those that are account holders to be aware of the timelines. And we can probably do something to remind them, but I will say that's kind of more of a self-responsibility thing that I also
our top-notch public affairs team has done substantial outreach, alerting customers to this recertification requirement. Wayne Metro, that is their specialty, is notifying customers of deadline dates for benefits, notifying them of their options. So we're always looking for ways to improve the outreach and communication, but we've sent thousands of letters out, just giving everyone step-by-step instructions how to recertify and letting them know that program arrearages, have to be paid in full.
Thank you. Are there other questions? Let me just, in terms of proceeding here, you're expecting a committee to move this on to the full board for review?
Correct. We
Okay.
would seek that you recommend this for approval to the full board.
Okay. Other questions or comments?
I don't have any, but I think we should give everybody, the other commissioners, an alert that this is coming so they have an opportunity to review it in detail before it's taken up by the board.
And we could probably, not put this on the consent agenda and break it out as a separate item and go through
Right.
it with the
Separate,
full
yeah,
board.
break
Yeah.
it out as a separate item.
Yeah.
That would be appropriate.
With that, is there a motion to approve recommending this to the full board?
Yes, Madam Chairman, I so move.
And I support it. Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
can they read the motion? Because we didn't take a move and support that motion.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Mr. Chair, could you read the motion? It's right there on the screen if you can see it. If you can't, I think I can read it.
I can, on the recommendation of Director Gary Brown, Chief Financial Officer Iska Rahman, and Chief of Staff, Chief Customer Service Officer Matthew Phillips, the Board of Water Commissioners of the City of Detroit Water and Sewage Department hereby approves the amendments of the Lifeline Plan for water affordability and authorize the director to take all such action as may be necessary to accomplish the intent of this vote.
And I support that action for this committee. Okay, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion is approved. And we'll see this in the full board. Now we're at the point of other matters. Are there any other matters for this committee? Not. The next meeting is November the 6th, 2024. And is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Thank you. I support it. We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.